part 2. So, yeah, I was able to shift and embrace the new chapter. I was able to peacefully close the door on my little place of 19 years. And I cried the tears of all of my grief of the last few years. And I woke up that last Sunday morning, and said, I'm gonna embrace this new experience. And you know what I did? Instead of, yikes, wasn't that fun? I just dropped you, sorry about that. Okay, that was fun. We wanted a new experience, well there we got it. I told myself, so because we dwell on the past, right? And when we dwell in the past, or we dwell on what we've lost, even though it's important to grieve that and feel that, but if we dwell there, we get stuck there in the past. And what that doesn't allow us to do is to move forward and to embrace the gloriousness of this present moment that life is trying to show us. As I started in my first video, life is trying to show us all of these amazing experiences. New experiences that stimulate, that generate, get the life force flowing through us. That's what inspiration is the life force. We are excited, the channels, the energy channels, the chakra channels, they're all open and we are feeling life. But when we're clinging on, we're not allowing the flow of the ocean to flow in, to flow out. We're staying stuck. And so when I woke up that morning, I was ready to put that chapter behind me and embrace this new chapter that life is giving me. And I decided that I was going to embrace walking through my new neighborhood. Again, same neighborhood, different location, different stimulation. I was going to embrace it as though I had just moved out here from Minnesota like I did 32 years ago or whatever. Imagine, Lisa, if you had just moved out here and this was your first experience in California. How would you walk through this neighborhood? You'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. And oh my God, I'm only 9 blocks from the beach. Yes, I was only 2 blocks from the beach in my other place, but that's in the past. But what if I could just take this moment for this moment? Holy crap, what would that be like? And so I just said, imagine you're seeing it as though you just moved out here. This is a whole new experience. And it just shifted me on every level. It brought me such peace. And I was excited. I was excited for this new adventure that I'm on with this new space, with my two of my dear friends. There's just so much potential here of things we can do. I don't know, just lots of new experiences. So there was that. So that brought me peace. And then I admit that, this past Thursday was my 4th chemo treatment. Liquid healing, we're calling it liquid healing. Power in words. And I have to thank a dear friend of mine, I'll say his name is Brian, who shared that phrase, that term, when his wife went through the similar thing that I did. They believed in the power of words and phrasing, and they changed chemo to liquid healing, which I'm adopting. So anyway, I had my 4th round on Thursday, and there's a certain drug that they haven't used with the chemo as of yet. It's called Avastin. And they didn't use it it's another, it's not chemo itself, but it helps to block the blood flow to the tumor. But, you know, one of the side effects can be a hard time healing, you know, if like you have an open wound or something like that. And so they put it off for a couple of rounds because I had just had surgery in October, and they didn't, heaven forbid, if I needed surgery for anything else with my, you know, bowel obstructions, I wouldn't be able to have surgery if I was on that drug Avastin. And so you have to know my background. For 50 years of my life, I've never even hardly done Tylenol, okay? Like, I have done nothing as far as medications or drugs of any kind. And I'm talking recreational as well. I mean, all my friends know. I mean, I'm just going to be transparent, and I've never even done weed. So, other than smelling it from other secondhand smoke sometimes, but at a Pink Floyd concert in 1993. Anyway, kind of on a tangent here. But my point is, up till 50 years of my life, I've never been on any medication or drug, or, like I said, Tylenol, nothing, hardly. So to go into, you could understand my aversion to the idea of going and doing these hard chemo drugs that, you know, being an exercise physiologist and understanding physiology and, you know, drugs and their medications, drugs and their side effects. You know, I've dedicated my whole life helping people to get off medications, blood pressure, cholesterol, insulin. I mean, because all of those things have side effects. And we all know the commercials, right? Half of the commercial, most of the commercial is all of the side effects. And so the idea of having chemo for me was just really, really hard for me to accept. I was afraid. How is my body, my little body gonna handle this? Like, I was more afraid of almost the chemo than the cancer, to be honest with you. And then this Avastin thing. So on my last session on Thursday, I was apprehensive, I was anxious, and I went in scared, you know, this whole thing of your body can't really heal if you know, with this Avastin because of the blood flow thing. Anyway, I talked to my doctor, Dr. Fisher at St. John's, and he's been, to his credit, he's been amazing. Sorry, my headphone set just came out. Maybe I'll head this way. He listened to me, and he knows my story, and he respects me. And I said, you know, I'm just really scared about the Avastin and the side effects. Can you tell me your experience with it? And he said, honestly, it's an easier drug than the chemo drugs in regards to side effects. He says, very rarely do we see something like high blood pressure. We have to watch your kidneys and liver function, of course, but he said for the most part, it's an easy drug, whatever. But then he said, but I'll let you decide. It's up to you. It's there if you are willing. And he left me in the room, and I sat there and I asked my body, I said, what do you feel about this Avastin? And immediately I felt my body say, it's okay. I was like, what? Because my head, my ego, again, the ego wanting to protect, the ego comes from fear. And I asked again, and I checked in again, and I heard my body say, it's okay. It's okay. Whoa, you know it's something higher when stuff like that happens. But that's how I've always known when my intuition is speaking to me and my body is speaking to me. because it brings me peace, and it brought me peace. All of a sudden I went from being scared to I found peace. And you know, the whole day that I was there, it's a long day. I mean, I'm sitting in that infusion chair for 6 hours, 5-6 hours. I just felt peace. And I would look up at the Avastin or whatever was coming through the intravenous IV bag, and I would just bless it. Liquid healing. And I reminded myself that I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and that's all that's happening here. And that we are divine expressions. We are the divine expressing itself as us, through us. And the divine is so much bigger than this little body in this physical world. And I reminded myself that we are all alchemists. If we can lean into our higher power, our higher self, our divine self, there is no fear, and we can master anything in this physical world. And I just felt so grateful that I'm getting this opportunity to actually put this principle into practice, this awareness, this consciousness that, look at, I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and that's all this is. That's all this is. And if we can move out of fear really hard, when we hear cancer, it's immediate fear. But I have had to surrender so much of my fear to God, the divine, because living with fear is not living. I've done a video on that already. It's just not living. And that stress in the body, you're not healing when you're in a place of fear and worry. And so I just have had to, with my meditations, with Abraham Hicks and Joe Dispenza, and just constantly remind myself, in this moment, I am not dying. I'm not even close to dying. And I have no intention of dying anytime soon. We could all be thinking we're alive in this body, and yet we're dying a spiritual death. Because we're still white-knuckling it and holding on out of fear and not trusting and having faith in life. That's not living. But anyway, so I had a major shift and profound peace about that. And the last couple of days I've been on my little steroid, dexamethasone, which is a couple of days after the chemo treatment, liquid healing. And then, and now I'm off. And this today, and in the pattern of this cycle, it's this day and the next day that I always feel a little weird in my body, a little neuropathy in my fingers and my feet. And so I feel a little disconnected from my body. It's like I'm walking kind of through a cloud in my body. It's the weirdest sensation. But hey, yesterday I taught a spontaneous 30-minute spin class to my dear friend Stacy, who's still in Florida, yesterday afternoon. And so I did my first spin class from my apartment, my new place. And I just I'm in awe of my little body, and I'm in awe of life and the magic and the miracles that we are part of this amazing flow of life. If we could just let go and allow ourselves to have it. Let go and allow ourselves to have it. When we don't let go, we're not allowing and we're not having. So that's my message to all of you. All right, I love you all. Look at this beautiful day. Okay, happy January. Until next time. When we heal our heart, we heal the world.